Hello, good evening. Happy Friday, April 10th. Good Friday. This morning I woke up and I felt really on purpose. I got out of bed intentionally. I went and did my card readings and got my meditation under my belt before my first Zoom call this morning. And I was feeling sort of invigorated and really good about myself because I've been keeping a fairly consistent regime. And although it's a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot of things being implemented all at once, I mean, they're pretty standard. Drink some more water, brush your teeth, things that I should be doing anyway. But in the thick of things, sometimes I get overwhelmed and I just forget about doing the simplest things like feeding myself, drinking enough water, putting cream on my feet, doing those self-care things, excuse me, that become that afterthought and they become something else that I'll do later sometime over and above that. And so I got on my call at 9:30 this morning and it wasn't that I had forgotten what day it was, but, all of a sudden, the guy that was leading the call said, "Good morning, happy Good Friday." And it just opened up this absolute floodgate of emotion for me. And he went, "Ugh, you're crying." This was a fairly professional call. So I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. But the truth is, prior to that, that floodgate hadn't opened. And at that point in time, I was feeling inundated with and overwhelmed with a level of emotion around a memory that I had. So 30 years ago, I got a phone call on Good Friday from my son's dad reading an ex-parte order, meaning that they had gone to court without my knowledge and consent and taken away custody of my son. He'll be 30 on April 25th. And I just was reliving that moment of getting the phone call on a Good Friday on a long weekend when I couldn't do anything about it. And how frantic and crazy that made me, and just how crazy those times were way back when. But, sourcing the things that need to come up and burble up to the surface, because there's a lot of unfelt energy that's been trapped in my body for 30 years, apparently, about sadness, anger, frustration. God, I can't even get in touch now with everything that I felt. But I tell you, this morning, as I was moving through all of that emotion, I thought, whoo, that's pretty big, and I really don't want to feel it. But the truth is, at this point in time, when those things come to me in the waves that they come, I get to choose, either to push them away and or just allow them to be. And so instead of pushing it away and shoving down food and, doing sort of things that I would maybe normally do in that situation, I decided to, wipe my eyes and get myself back on track for my call. And then after that, revisited that a few times today where I was able to release something, because I think that's important with feelings and emotions that are tied up with past and historical events, especially ones that are sad or angering, because that stuff stays alive in our bodies, which is not good for us. So I know that that's sort of how my day started. And although I did a ton of things today and I accomplished a ton of things, there was some things that I didn't get to or didn't make important enough or didn't carve out enough time for, whatever you want to say. I'm trying to be accountable here, because the truth is I did have enough time, but sometimes I felt overwhelmed by the emotion and therefore unable to get it. And I remember this idea of grace, and that this is about progress, not perfection. Because it would be so easy to quit some of the things that I've implemented in the last week because I'm not doing it right. I'm not doing it good enough. I'm not doing it like everybody else. I maybe took on too many things and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm feeling a bit discombobulated from time to time. But the truth is, it is my opportunity right now, and yours, should you be invited to do so, to be gentle and kind with yourself. Because there's so many times when I'd be like, oh, great, you didn't do that, T, way to go. And I'll concentrate on that one thing or that number of things that I didn't do. Meanwhile, I've got a friggin' arm list of the things that I did do. The last 3 days, I've drinking more water than I have in months. So I know that I am making progress in the direction that I want. I set myself alarms so that I'm, first of all, consciously aware that those things are coming up for me throughout the day, because sometimes I just feel a little overwhelmed, when I get into that tight space instead of being in that calm and relaxed state. And I know 3 weeks ago, or whatever, March 30th, whenever that was, not even 3 weeks ago, when I got on a call with my friend Christina Bianchini, and one of the leaders that was on the call was sharing about what she's been doing in isolation. And when she said, I've been meditating for an hour and a half a day, I literally was like, what are you talking about? Who has time to do that? Like, it absolutely accosted me. It almost shocked me that someone would spend their time doing that. And yet today I spent probably well over 2 hours in meditation, in that meditative state, with a calm surrender about me. And when I started feeling anxious that I'm not doing it right, and I'm not doing enough, and I'm not doing it like this person or that person, and I'm in this constant comparison with what everybody else is doing and able to do, and I'm not able to do, and blah, 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 blah. I am not meant to be a Jay Shetty. I am not meant to be a Dr. Dispoza. I am not meant to be anyone else but me. And that is the most brilliant gift that I can give myself, is to know that this is my life. I get to make my choices. I get to move forward at the pace that's comfortable for me. Some people want to take on, all kinds of things, and they're ready and set to go. And there's other people that are absolutely having trouble brushing their hair and their teeth. And wherever you are on that spectrum, wherever you land, anywhere in between all of that stuff, it is okay. Please know that whatever you're doing to keep yourself safe and sane is okay. Wherever you're at is perfectly fine. And I think that's the deal. I see a lot of people judging people for going outside, people going for walks, people, taking their kids to the grocery store. I saw a post today that a woman actually made a sign for the back of her child. I'm 5 and I cannot stay at home alone. And meanwhile, we'd be in the grocery store mocking and scoffing, potentially, some of us anyway, at the fact that this mother would bring her child into such, a dangerous situation. But the truth is, everybody is doing the best job that they know how with something that we don't know how to deal with. So a level of compassion comes up. If your creativity is up, then utilize your creativity and do something with that. If your fear is up and the only thing that you can do is watch movies all day, it is okay, as long as you take a moment or two throughout the day to get out of this mode and get into this mode. And sometimes just taking 3 deep breaths is enough. There were so many times 15 years ago when trauma hit my family, when I did not think that I would ever get off my couch. I didn't believe that I would ever have any kind of zest for life or any desire to rise. And through time, getting myself through that, feeding my kids every day, having a purpose, basically. So, there was a purpose in my day to get up and be in service to my children. And then eventually, that wasn't quite enough. And eventually, something stirred inside of me, and I desired for something more or different. So I started moving towards those things. So, the first thing that comes to mind is Portal Players and theater in Port Alberni. It was our local community theater, and I really, my kids were on stage when they were kids, but I longed to be on stage and never, ever had the courage to do it. And all of a sudden, there was a stirring inside of me. And then the opportunity came to go and try out for Jesus Christ Superstar. And I tell you, it saved my life at that point in time to plug into some kind of creative resource. But I wasn't ready for that at the beginning. It took the steps necessary to move to a different place in order for the desire to rise and for me to be at that precipice of taking action. The things that I have implemented in the last week or two are mind-boggling to me. 2 weeks ago, if you had said I would have been meditating and learning, etc., I would have said, oh, no, that's just too much for me to take on. But I feel my core strength grow. I feel my spiritual self settle into a really calm and peaceful place. I feel driven to the degree that I take a step or many steps or several steps or a few steps every day towards what it is that I say that I want. And now that I have my vision fairly clear in my mind, I have a beacon to go towards. I have something that when I get lost and off track, I have a light. I have somewhere that I can focus on and that I can reframe, regroup, reorganize, and start moving towards. Again, please, friends, this is progress, not perfection. If you've done something today to make yourself feel better, to be on purpose in your life, to make sure that you're, okay inside, then that is enough. You and me, we're enough. How fantastic is that? Such good news. This morning when I pulled Catch Me, I'm clear that I'm always at that place. Every day is a new day. And so therefore, although it feels like the same day and I'm in the same space and I may be wearing the same clothes and doing similar things, today is a new day. So, as I awake and stuff like that, I get to choose what kind of day I want to carve out for myself, the things that I want to do, the things that I want to contribute, the things that I want to see and hear. And I tell you, with all the meditating and everything else that I'm doing, I have very, very, very minimal time to spend scrolling Facebook or any other kind of, news channels or anything else where I'm getting into that panic state. So I'm spending more time like this and less time like this, which matters. Because 2 weeks ago, it was the complete opposite of that. And it may be that I'll revisit those places and then I might be scared from time to time. I might get into fear. I might feel emotion and everything else. But I feel more empowered today to get myself out of those dark places than I ever have in my whole life. How great is that? It's so fantastic. I love it. Dark Moon. Meditation. Growing up. Introspection, know thyself. One of the things that I sort of feel is I'm maybe abandoning my family. I don't spend a lot of time with them because I'm spending time doing other things. And the truth is, I know that my call to action right now is to shh, be calm, be present, be focused, and take action in the direction that I feel most pulled to. This isn't for anybody else. I can't describe that or make the rules for anybody else. I can only do that for myself. And balance is such an important piece of that. And right now I feel like the pendulum is swung, all the way in the other direction. And now it's my job to sort of bring that back and have it rest somewhere in the middle here, so that I can start feeling like I have some sort of balance between learning all the time and doing meditation all the time and everything else, and seeing my boyfriend for more than 5 minutes a day, and visiting with my granddaughter and reading books with her. In those moments when I'm doing that stuff, I have to remind myself that it's okay to take a break, that it's okay to take that moment, that right now, quality time, whether it's on the screen or in person, if you happen to be living with people, is so vital and important. Connection is so important. The last card that I pulled today was Crystal Magic. Creation, dawn, the beginning. So as I previously stated, I feel more on track and more aligned with my most authentic self than I ever have in my whole life. This is day 25 of video making. I am so proud, and it's okay to take pride in our accomplishments and celebrate those things. Modesty is one thing, but it is also okay to take a moment. Breathe in that accomplishment, whatever it is that you've done today, that's a little different than yesterday, that brings your level of joy up, creates some happiness in your life, allows you to touch other people and inspire other people. I'm inspired by friends and family and the people that I see doing really innovative things to stay sane in this whole crazy worldly craziness that's going on right now. And that's what will count, is the moments that we spend in creativity, creation of something different than the panic and onset that can so easily happen. I hope you're being good to each other. I hope you're being kind to yourself, because it's such an easy place to go into. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. What the hell's wrong with you? I didn't do anything. I don't know if any of you beat yourself up, but I've certainly had my fair share of that. And the truth is, I want to put the boxing gloves down. I deserve my own love. I deserve to fall in love. So catch me by surrendering, allowing that dark moment of introspection, of looking at the past and the history and all of the emotions and the feelings and everything else. Give those things a chance to see the light of day, and just hold them out here so that you can take a look at all the different ways that you can see it. Because you are not the feeling. You are the watcher of that thought, the watcher of that feeling. Allow yourself to step into that empowered place. And I hope and pray that you're being kind to yourself and others. Compassion rules, man. So much love. See you tomorrow.